This time around, we're going to take a look at the new lens correction features that we have inside of Photoshop CS5. And one of the ways that I see them demonstrated a lot, and first off, let's go. You've got to open up a photo into Camera Raw, okay? Because this is a RAW feature. And what's nice about it is we used to have something similar to this in the Photoshop interface, but now you can get it all done on the RAW photo, which just kind of helps saves time. Anyway, here's a photo shot with a fisheye. So it's got a profile, which more often than not, I mean, I'll give it a try. Most of the time, I'm not using it. This is without the profile. This is with the profile. When you're shooting fisheye, I find it works really, really good because it's straight in the photo. Now, I might argue that if I were shooting a fisheye, that most of the time I'm looking for more of that effect. But you could see where you can kind of use it here to use that profile, because what it does is it automatically, it's got a profile that looks at the camera, it looks at the lens that you used, and it's got this library of profiles that it pulls from, and it automatically knows, because of this camera and because of this lens, what it should apply to the photo. Okay, now let's go ahead and take a look at a different photo. All right, so I'll enable the same profile, the profile lens corrections, different camera, different lens, and now when I turn it, here's off, here's on. All right, so what did it do? Well, it really didn't do anything for the distortion in the photo. You'll see a very, very small change here. What it did do is it removed a lot of the vignetting, all right? And that's what it's pretty good at, because you could see, you almost don't notice it at first. I kind of like it, actually. But when you turn on that profile, it really removes a lot of the lens vignetting here from that wide angle. All right, well, let's turn this off. Let's jump over to manual, because this is where I think it's a little bit more useful, especially, you've got this big, tall building. It's leaning over. So what do we have? We have a vertical distortion problem, a vertical perspective problem. So that's when I come over here to transform, and I can move the vertical slider. And what you're going to do is you're going to move it until your building basically gets straight up in the air. Right about there. Okay. Now, do we have a little bit of a horizontal problem? Yeah, because this kind of seems to tilt off to the side a little. So I'd come over here with the horizontal and see if I can straighten that up a little bit too. Right about there. All right, so here's the problem. The problem is that I've gotten rid of some pretty vital areas inside of the photo. And here's the thing. When you shoot wide angle, and if you have this distortion problem, you're pretty much saying, I'm going to have to, if I'm going to fix this, I'm going to have to give up these areas. And I have to, because what I can do now is I can scale this, and I can put it just to the point where I get rid of it. Okay. And the other alternative to scale would be, let's just double click on the slider here, reset it back to its default setting. The other alternative to that would simply be to take the crop tool, all right, and then just come in here and crop it. Right about there. But either way, I'm going to lose this stuff. There's nothing that I can do about this area over here once I've got such a severe distortion or perspective problem inside of my photo. Once that's there's nothing that you can do about that. That's part of lens correction. That's part of fixing these types of photos, is knowing that you're going to have to lose those areas. But if you are shooting with a wide angle lens, which I was shooting with a Nikon 14-24 here, and this was at 14 millimeters on a full frame camera, so very, very wide. Obviously, some pretty big changes in as far as the building leaning over. So we're able to fix that and create a lot more of a usable image, an image where people don't look at it and say, why is that building leaning over? Okay, so that's lens corrections for you. There's some other settings inside of here as far as lens vignetting. So I could come in here and try to remove that lens vignetting that we had seen that the profile did earlier. Honestly, I kind of like it. So I'm really just going to leave it in there, but you can try to get rid of those things as well. Okay, well, folks, hope you enjoyed. My name is Matt Klaskowski, and I'll talk to you again soon.